The story kicks off with a high-speed car chase that'll leave you breathless. Our main guy, Leo, a young genius, and his partner Angie are racing through the night, trying to escape a fleet of police cars. Leo shows off his insane driving skills and uses his brains to throw them off. He lights up the tunnel with flashbangs and throws money everywhere to cause chaos. But as soon as they make it out of the tunnel, they run straight into an even bigger trap. This one's set by a secret military organization called PST. The scene cuts, and we get some world info. In this world, there are regular humans, and then there's another group known as the bloodivores, or vampire hybrids. They were created as a side effect of an old medical treatment. The government keeps them on a tight leash using collars. These collars track them and glow red whenever they feel bloodthirsty. Back to Leo and his crew, we find out they're a team of 4. Leo, the mastermind, Angie, their hot-headed friend Chow, and their getaway driver, Chen Fong. The plan? A full-blown armed bank heist. Everything's going fine until a little kid sees Chow's face. That small mistake spirals fast. Angie's collar lights up, which instantly gives away their location to PST. They try to escape, but a fight breaks out. Kao doesn't want Angie to come with them anymore. She's too much of a risk now. But Leo, who clearly cares about her deeply, makes a huge decision. He ditches the rest of the crew and escapes with Angie. Of course, they end up getting caught. Then, the big shock. The news breaks out that the whole crew were orphans raised in the same facility. And Leo? He's not just anyone. He's the famous boy of peace, and the son of PST's director himself. During the investigation, Leo doesn't seem to care about anything until the detective shows him photos of the 15 people who died during the heist. For the first time, Leo is visibly shaken. Later, his dad visits him in prison, not to help, but to scold him. The punishment is brutal. The court sentences them all to death. As they're being transported in prison vans late at night, a PST unit suddenly shows up and ambushes them. Bullets fly, chaos erupts, and the episode ends with gunfire and their fate unknown. Then flashback. We jump back in time to a huge press conference. On stage is none other than Dr. Anju, revealing breakthrough research that could change everything. Turns out this whole thing has been Leo's memory. He's narrating the past. Dr. Anju introduces the results of PST's experiments. Standing beside him is Leo's mother, the lead of the genetic research team. She presents the first ever half-human, half-vampire hybrid. Everyone is stunned. She explains that the boy has been alive for 5 years without showing any signs of aggression. He might be humanity's hope. Back to the present, Leo wakes up from the memory, still alive somehow after all the gunfire. Next to him is a girl, but it's not Angie. He's confused, wants to know where he is and why. He opens a bag and finds clothes and a gun. Just then, another prisoner wakes up and quickly ties Leo up. The girl wakes up too, surprised she's still alive. The guy realizes they're all in the same boat and lets Leo go. We learn the girl's name is Cho Evian, arrested for fraud and jewelry theft. The guy is Lee Chan, a professional assassin. Suddenly, a heavy iron door creaks open. They realize they're not alone. Everyone's confused until an exact copy of Angie walks in and calmly says no one's watching them, because this is a prison built just for them. Leo runs to her, but someone grabs him. It's the real Angie. He's completely speechless. The fake Angie calmly announces their new home, Ori Prison, and that they're going to be stuck here forever. Her words provoke one of the other inmates, who charges at her, but Chim steps in and stops him. A fight breaks out. As they brawl, the other inmates notice the real Angie standing behind Leo. That draws attention, but Chao suddenly shows up with a weapon to defend him. Back to the fight, Chim is about to lose, but then the collar on his opponent's neck starts a countdown. Seconds later, the guy's head explodes. Everyone is horrified. Fake Angie coldly explains that these collars are different. They're explosive. If anyone misbehaves or tries to remove it, it'll go off. She finishes by saying they have a mission, one they need to complete if they want to survive. We cut to the detective who interrogated Leo. He's at the scene of the shootout, completely in disbelief at what he's seeing. He calls someone and demands a list of the prisoners who were killed or disappeared. He's not letting this go. Back in Ori, the fake Angie transforms into a robot. But before anyone can process that, monsters appear out of nowhere and tear her apart. These terrifying beasts are the mission. They have to kill them, but no matter what they do, nothing works. The team tries to escape, but it's useless. They get caught easily. Leo and Angie manage to hide and realize something's not right. Leo's sure they're close to escaping. Cho Avion sees them and begs to go with them. But when she speaks, the monster hears and attacks Leo. His heart starts racing, and suddenly he begins floating. Lee Chan sees it and says one line that changes everything. He manipulates blood. Leo lands safely, confused about what just happened. Lee Chan jumps in to save the girls and, with insane speed, slices the monster's tongue clean clean off, then finishes it off with deadly precision, like he and the swords are one. Meanwhile, some inmates try to make a bomb but die before it can go off. Chim grabs the bomb and throws it at the door. It explodes, finally giving them an exit. Lee catches Angie just in time before the monster gets her. She tells him to save Cho Evian too. He tells her to use the gun from his bag. He goes back down and rescues Cho, while Angie drops a huge iron pipe on the monster with ease. The three of them climb into a vent to escape. Lee Chan stays behind, slashing through monsters non-stop. He refuses to leave. He tells them to just get out while he holds them off. On the other side, another group reaches a destroyed gate, only to find it leads to a dead end. The monsters swarm and attack without mercy. Back with Leo, Angie, and Cho Evian, they find multiple paths and agree to stick together. Leo talks about how his blood powers are rare, especially for blood manipulators like him. He thinks whoever brought them here wants to study them. He uses his gun to test the paths for traps and decides on one direction to take. Meanwhile, back on the other side, one of the prisoners who was about to die suddenly unleashes a strange power. He freezes the monsters in midair for a few seconds, but it's not strong enough. Then another guy steps in and tells everyone to use their powers together to create a giant metal wall to protect themselves. We cut back to Leo, who finally makes it out into a strange area. He tells the girls to follow him, and they step into what looks like an office that's been abandoned for years. As he checks the place out, Leo notices signs that people had been here, and something feels off. He finds a floor plan of the building, and apparently it's not supposed to be finished for another 2 years. He sits alone for a moment, thinking. The name Ori keeps ringing in his mind, like it's familiar somehow. We flash back to Leo as a kid, playing with one of his friends when suddenly they're interrupted by someone yelling at them to evacuate. There's been a vampire attack. Everyone runs, except Leo. He's forced to stay alone in the classroom, following his father's orders. Outside the school, a killer shows up. The cops surround him, yelling that he's got nowhere to run, but he's already got Leo and drags him up to the roof. The killer tells Leo that his life or death depends on his luck, and that they'll wait there until Leo's dad shows up. His father does arrive, but only via drone. The killer mocks him, saying, "Wouldn't it be better to feel your son's fear up close?" But Leo's dad stays cold, with zero emotion. He just says no one escapes from Ori. And now we learn Ori was the name of the school back then. The killer turns to Leo and tells him that if he dies now, he'll go down as the most famous delinquent among all criminals. Then he laughs. Leo desperately pleads with his dad, but his father refuses to help. The killer is stunned for a moment, and then Leo's dad apologizes for abandoning him. He gives the order to attack. The killer looks at Leo and says, "Too bad. Just because you're a vampire, even a half one, you'll be treated like the rest of us." Then he throws Leo off the roof, takes a bullet, and dies. Turns out the only reason Leo survived was because the teacher and the students helped him escape. He remembers that day clearly. It was the first time he ever used his blood manipulation powers. We jump back to the detective, who finally gets the full list of death row prisoners. Shockingly, they've all vanished within less than a month. No records, no trace, not even any bodies. He tries to find info on Leo's mom, but the system blocks him. She's protected by PST. The reasoning? Leo's dad is trying to save what little dignity the family has left, but something doesn't sit right with the detective. What really gets him is that Leo's 3 friends were also raised in the same orphanage. He looks into the place and finds out it was actually a facility for vampire kids. Still, none of this feels like enough. There's more to uncover. Back in the building, Leo is extremely cautious. He watches every move, staying sharp. He tells the girls to stay alert and speak up if they notice anything. As they start walking, he says they'll need to find weapons, medical supplies, and food, just in case they're stuck here for a while. Angie notices something strange. They're on the 4th floor, but they didn't climb that far up in the vent. She's clearly uneasy. Leo explains that they're probably in some kind of space-time distortion. Cho Evian mocks him for cracking jokes in a serious situation, but Leo doesn't care. He keeps moving, the girls close behind. Cho's face gives away that she's thinking about what Leo said, and maybe planning something shady. They enter a new room, and Leo quickly analyzes it. Looks like some kind of unknown creature was here before. Back in the supply area, we see the vampire who used his powers earlier trying to rally the others. Chen is doing his best to turn the tide, but one of the guys beside him freaks out. He pulls out a bomb, ready to blow himself and everyone else up. The others grab him and try to stop him from detonating it. That's when Cao, without hesitation, shoots and kills him. Chen grabs the bomb from his hand. Everyone thanks Cao, but he breaks down crying. The weight of what just happened hits him hard. Chen then flashes back to when they were kids. Cao was always getting bullied, harassed in every way by a group of kids. But one day, one of the bullies got seriously hurt, and the one who stepped in to defend Cao was none other other than Chen himself. Brave, loyal, and always trying to protect his friend. Unfortunately, the two of them ended up getting caught and beaten badly by the other kids. After all that, Chen remembers seeing Chao cry. Back in the present, Chen snaps into focus. He grabs Chao and shakes him out of his daze. Chao blames himself for everything. He's the oldest and feels like he should have prevented all this, but he promises he'll fix it. He'll make things right again. Chen goes over to the vampire who was trying to block the door and tells him to leave a path open for the monsters. He's got a plan to handle them. Everyone thinks he's crazy, but he shuts them down and says they're going to break in here eventually, no matter what we do. Then he lays out the plan. He'll use explosives on the far side of the door to take care of the threat, but we don't get to see what happens next just yet. Back to Leo, Angie, and Cho Evian. Leo warns them there's gunfire nearby. Cho says if only Leo could use his power to check what's happening below, but that's not how his ability works. We find out that Leo's power creates a gravity point, and when he activates it, he gets pulled toward that point. Basically, he free falls to it. The downside? There are limits. If the target is too far away or too heavy, he'll crash like he just fell off a building. He tells the girls not to move more than 10 meters away. Just then, a monster appears, about to rip Angie and Cho's heads off, but Leo pulls them to safety at the last second. He's surprised. He didn't even sense the creature coming. He quickly uses his power again to grab a metal rod and fights back with it. He says this is what Li Chan did, and it must work. And it does. He's using his power effectively, making himself faster and more dangerous in the fight. The monster turns out to be smarter than expected. It manages to dodge Leo and goes straight for Angie and Cho Evian. Angie jumps in to defend her, but that's when we catch a glimpse of Cho Evian's sly, suspicious look. Suddenly, she shoves Angie straight toward the monster and runs off. The creature strikes Angie, but it doesn't kill her. Then Leo shows up and starts fighting off both monsters at once. Meanwhile, Cho Evian runs right into a dead end. Back with Angie, she's seriously injured, but somehow still alive. The monsters aren't dead yet either. Cho returns and helps Leo carry Angie out. Leo follows for now, but it's clear he doesn't trust her anymore. He takes a different path and leaves her behind with another monster. Leo kicks into survival mode. He uses his power to run at full speed, setting a trap and luring the monster into it. He and Angie fall into the trap together, but the monster doesn't go down easy. It fights through the pain and, strangely enough, floats right up in front of Leo's face. Scene change. We cut to Chen as a kid ignoring the bullies around him and climbing on a steel structure. A stone falls on some people, and they think Chen did it on purpose. He runs off and ends up near the Angie lookalike robot. As he passes it, its core glows bright blue, but he doesn't notice. Back to Leo. A strange glowing mark on his left hand lights up. He wakes up and sees Angie. She's still alive, but her pulse is weak. The wound is deep. Leo grabs his gun. He's got a plan, but the monster he fought earlier is still alive and coming for them. With no time left, Leo grabs a cartridge of gunpowder, packs it into the gun, and lights it up next to Angie's wound to cauterize it. Behind them, the monster starts moving again. Leo braces for a fight, but just as he's about to get hit, the monster suddenly begins to break down and dissolve. A glowing blue light pours out of its body. Leo is stunned. It makes no sense, but at least Angie's bleeding has stopped. Now, he needs to find supplies before anything else happens. We cut to Chen again, who's trying to escape through a tight wall passage that's closing in on him. Just before he's crushed, a hand pulls him out. It's another vampire who woke up late and managed to save him. The vampire says he doesn't know what's going on, but then suddenly grabs Chen by the neck and demands to know where Mitengu is. Meanwhile, we see Mitengu himself being summoned by his superiors. They've received a signal from the blue sapphire inside Ori. Everyone's questioning why he gave his son that sapphire in the first place. It's incredibly rare. To them, vampires are still beneath them, no matter what. But Mitengu puts them in a tough spot. He argues that Leo is their top candidate and that he considered every possible outcome. Even though they want to fire him, someone higher up steps in, someone we don't see, and allows an exception. We learn that Mitengu had prepared his soldiers for this situation, just in case. Back to Leo. He's trying to break through a wall and flashes back to everything that's happened to him and his friends. He starts thinking this might be the end, until the glowing stone in his left hand lights up again. He remembers the pain he felt when he first touched it. Maybe he did something back then without realizing it. He touches the stone again, and suddenly a virtual computer system appears in front of him. It reacts to his touch and asks him to begin a search for information about vampires. The system starts loading every documented detail about them. Leo learns something new. Vampires can transfer blood in rare cases. But before helping Angie, he decides to dig deeper into the name Ori. Turns out the place used to be called Oka, a scientific research zone. They were developing a cure for insomnia, and while the drug worked, 2 years later it caused side effects that led to the creation of vampires. The government eventually decided to wipe them out using weapons of mass destruction. The area was later rebuilt and renamed Ori. Leo tries to search for records about the prisoners, but the files are so classified, they need a password to access. He ends his search, cuts his hand open, and lets Angie drink his blood, hoping it'll revive her. Back to Chen, he tells the vampire everything that happened. Then he walks away, thinking it was just a weird encounter. But a monster's hand suddenly reaches for someone. The vampire doesn't flinch. When the monster attacks, he casually throws a punch and makes its head vanish. The wall collapses, but the vampire stands there, completely unfazed. He's actually enjoying the chaos. He wipes out all the monsters around him instantly, with just his hands. One of the other vampires identifies him. His name is Lu Yao, an S-rank criminal who was exiled. Dangerous doesn't even begin to cover it. We cut to Leo again. His blood transfer worked, but Angie wakes up in a wild, unstable state. She bites him, and they both pass out. Then we see a strange blue being place its hand over Leo's face. No one knows what it is. Back to Lu Yao. He's attacked because of Li Chen, but he easily blocks the strike. Turns out the two of them know each other. Lu Yao goes on the offensive, grabbing Chen's sword and mocking him. He delivers a powerful lesson, leaving Chen defeated and tied up. Then he bites him. That's when Lu Yao hears a ticking sound. There's a bomb implanted in Chen's neck. Before it explodes, he's approached by a blood manipulator who seems to admire him. He explains the same explosive system that killed the guy who fought Chen earlier. Lu Yao listens for a bit, then punches him dead without a second thought. The number on his neck jumps from 399 to 400. Leo wakes up from a dream about his mother. Angie wakes up beside him. They both feel a breeze from somewhere. It's a vent. The wall has opened. They finally have a way out. Leo carries Angie on his back, and they head toward a nearby hospital. Along the way, Leo remembers the first time he met her, back when she arrived at the orphanage. He remembers how Chen and Chao were always kind to Angie. They were the original trio. Leo starts crying for no reason. Angie, without hesitation, offers him her favorite doll, hoping it'll cheer him up, but he keeps crying anyway. That's when he swore he'd always protect her. Angie teases him, telling him to stop acting so dramatic. After all, he's not even an orphan. Her words catch him off guard, and he doesn't know how to respond. Back inside the storage facility, the vampires are trying to open the exit door. Lu Yao is walking around, trying to make sense of everything that's going on, but he ignores all the important stuff and instead asks Li Chen where he got his clothes. Without warning, he strolls right up and takes Chen's outfit in front of everyone, like it's no big deal, and no one dares stop him. Right after that, we see Leo standing still, not because of anything Angie said, but because he saw a massive dragon flying through the sky. He gently sets Angie down so she can rest. She tells him to go and leave her behind, because clearly he has more important things to do. She says he's always been mysterious, always keeping his distance and hiding behind invisible walls so no one could get close. Then she asks him, "What are we to you, really?" But before he can answer, she starts coughing badly. She's barely holding on. With her last bit of strength, she begs him to look after Chen and Chao Li. They're her family. And one day, she says, they'll be the ones who break down all the walls Leo's built around himself. Meanwhile, after Lu Yao steals Chen's clothes in front of everyone, he mocks them for being too narrow-minded. Then he casually walks up to the gate and with one simple move swings it wide open. He tells them this world isn't a dream anymore. The only rule now is survival of the fittest. Everyone should go their own way. But strangely, the whole group decides to follow him anyway, even Kao. That's the beginning of the team split. Chen refuses to give up on Leo and Angie, but Chao wants nothing to do with that plan. Chen finds himself alone until Li Chen walks up and tells him Leo escaped through a vent with 2 girls. He might already be dead. He's not normal, neither human nor vampire. Cut to Leo, still carrying Angie. He finally opens up, telling her the full truth. He's the son of the director of PST. The reason he ended up in the orphanage was because he was searching for his mother. Then we shift to the detective, who arrives at the orphanage where Leo once stayed. He questions the woman in charge about Leo, but she says no one by that name was ever here. She admits they've had a hard time because they accepted vampires, thanks to some government funding. The detective notices a stuffed doll and asks about it. She says it was a donation. He then demands a list of all donors, and she agrees to get it for him. But while she's gone, he inspects the doll and finds a hidden surveillance device inside. Now he's really suspicious. Back to Li Chen and Chen. Chen is trying to squeeze more information out of him. Li Chen explains that Leo used his blood manipulation powers to take the girls through the air vent. Chen's shocked. He didn't know Leo had that kind of power. But then then they both notice something strange. All the monster blood around them, it's still glowing. Lu Yao's power must have done this. Then something weird happens. A blue, human-shaped crystal appears inside one of the creatures. When Chen touches it, he feels like it's sucking him in. Li Chen quickly grabs it, but seconds later it melts from his hand, hot to the touch, and vanishes into the ground. That's when Li Chen decides he's going to help Chen find Leo. We jump to another scene. The detective gathers all the dolls and pulls out every hidden microphone inside. There are a lot of them. He plays back one of the recordings and hears Leo, Angie, Chow, and Chen talking about what happened to them. Turns out their orphanage was taken from them. That sparks a new theory for Leo. The real estate agency might have been in on it. And guess what? That same agency is partnered with the bank they tried to rob. It was all part of a bigger plan. Back to Leo, who finds a safe place to leave Angie so she can rest. But suddenly he hears something. Familiar voices. It's his friends during the bank heist. All the blame had been pinned on him. The memory rattles him, but he snaps out of it when he senses something nearby. A monster. Leo jumps into action without hesitation. Meanwhile, Chen and Li Chen follow a path with clear signs of monsters. Li Chen tells him to stay quiet or they'll attract more. Since they haven't found any bodies, it means Leo and Angie might still be alive. Suddenly, a loud, piercing whistle echoes through the air. Li Chen pinpoints the direction. Back to Leo, who's using whatever he can find to fight the monster. He actually manages to knock it down, but just when he thinks it's over, the monster grabs him and pins him down. He struggles, but then he notices another creature moving in on Angie. Leo panics. He tries to save her, but he's too tightly held and ends up blacking out. When he wakes up, there's a little girl sitting on top of him, checking to see if he's okay. He is. Turns out he's in some kind of underground base where meals are being served. He finds Angie, Li Chen, and Chen all there, and that's when Chen sees him and punches him square in the face. He's furious. Chen shouts that Leo let Angie get hurt, that he trusted him to protect her. Leo stands there silently, unable to say anything. Then the memory hits. He promised them he'd protect her no matter what. That guilt finally boils over. Leo punches Chen back. The two of them start brawling, throwing hit after hit until they both collapse in exhaustion and tears. Once they calm down, Li Chen explains what happened. They lost their memories for a while, but eventually tracked Leo and Angie down just before they were eaten. It was Li Chen who saved them. Chen wonders why Leo didn't use his power to escape. Leo explains he used up all his energy in the last fight, and there's no way he could have left Angie behind. That's when Chen finally asks, "Why didn't you just tell us the truth from the start? You're a blood manipulator." After everything, Leo doesn't respond to Chen's question. He's lost in thought, unsure what to do next. His mind is scattered, and he has no idea what their next move should be. Meanwhile, Chen is determined to find Chow and get him as far away from this place as possible. He walks off on his own. Li Chen then asks Leo about Cho Yivian, but Leo stays completely silent. That's all the answer he needs. She didn't make it. Li Chen turns and leaves too. But Leo's mind is stuck on something else. The moment he threw that stone and saw a strange violet portal appear, then vanish just as quickly. It didn't make any sense. The little girl who had been lying on top of Leo earlier suddenly walks over to Angie and lays on her instead. Then, in the middle of the eerie silence inside Ori, Angie suddenly wakes up. She quietly walks toward Leo, who's asleep, but he senses something and wakes up instantly, only to find no one in front of him. Still, something doesn't feel right. He follows the strange feeling outside, and there she is, Angie, alive and standing. She lights up when she sees him, asking where they are. Her voice wakes up Chen, who can't believe his eyes. Angie is standing. She's completely fine. Overwhelmed, he runs to her and hugs her tightly, crying uncontrollably. All the fear, all the anxiety, it finally breaks out. Leo checks her closely. Her wound is completely healed. Even her collar is back to normal. It's like she was never hurt in the first place. He says it's a miracle. Even the usually emotionless Li Chen is visibly stunned. Angie is confused by their reaction. She doesn't understand why they thought she was dead. Her memory's foggy. She only remembers being attacked by monsters while with Leo. They escaped, and then it all went dark. They ask her not to push herself too hard or try to remember more just yet. But she says something weird. When she woke up, a little blonde girl was next to her. She tried to talk to her, but the girl ran away after biting her. Chen immediately realizes she must mean Yaya. He explains that she's been watching them from above this whole time. She doesn't speak like they do, and he named her Yaya because that's the only sound she ever made. Just kept yelling it over and over. He tries to get her to come down, down but gets no response. So he threatens her. Still no movement. Until BAM! She slaps him across the face and hides behind Angie like a scared kid. Later, Chen explains what happened when he and Li Chen found that strange room. The walls, they were peeling their skin off. He describes a weapon Li Chen lost just before the room nearly dissolved them. And in the middle of all that chaos, Yaya was lying there, sleeping. They barely made it out. Li Chen admits he couldn't help her at first. He has a phobia of women. Leo starts to put the pieces together. The monster he killed before melted the exact same way. He decides he has to go back and see that room himself. The next morning, Leo and Chen talk. Leo begins connecting the dots. Yaya isn't one of the prisoners who came in with them. She must have arrived another way, maybe like the monsters themselves. He doesn't know for sure, but he thinks that room might be the key to escaping. Meanwhile, Li Chen tries asking Angie about the robot that looked like her and about her collar. Then suddenly, he puts his hand on Yaya's head and asks for her counter number. It's 5. Back with Leo and Chen, they run into another monster and hide. They spot some armed prisoners nearby. Looks like they're searching for weapons, and Leo's communicator might have given away their position. Angie hears gunfire in the distance, but doesn't know what's going on. The guys decide to surrender, not out of fear, but because they want to meet Lu Yao. They need weapons. Their plan? Kill monsters to raise Yaya's counter, since she clearly can't fight on her own. Out of nowhere, another monster shows up and grabs 2 of the soldiers. It nearly grabs Chen too, but Leo dives in at the last second and saves him. For some reason, the monster backs off. Elsewhere, Lu Yao's men and Chao are struggling against an even more dangerous monster. It breaks free and launches directly at Chao. Cut back to Leo and Chen, running, still shaken from everything that just happened. Leo knows there's no other way now. To protect Yaya, he'll have to fight more monsters. But there's no time to overthink. He hears gunfire nearby and runs toward it. Just in time, Leo saves Chao, who's inches from death. Chao's stunned. He can't believe Leo was the one who saved him. Leo tells him to deal with the monster himself. They can talk later. Leo fights the creature head-on, using his powers, and finally takes it down with a clean finishing blow. But then, something strange happens. The monster's body starts to change. Its hair falls out, its shape shrinks, until it turns into a small boy. Everyone is in shock. Someone tries to tie him up before he can transform again. Meanwhile, Chen goes to Chao and begs him to come back and rejoin them. He even tells him Angie's okay, but Chao refuses, completely cold. He says he's done with them, and if they try to stand in his way, he won't care about old friendships. Turns out Leo used to be part of Chao's new team, but he was so quiet that nobody ever realized he was a blood manipulator. Cao checks on his team. They call him Commander now. He coldly asks why Leo is even here and then orders him to leave immediately. But Leo just smiles sarcastically and says, "Wow, nice to see you too." Then he demands to meet their leader, Lu Yao. But before that, his attention shifts back to the boy, who's still holding something, a strange golden stone. A soldier explains that the rock slowly melted on its own, and before it vanished, it turned blood red. Chen hears that, and his suspicions are confirmed. Leo says he wants to strike a deal with Lu Yao, and no, he's not joking. Chao orders a soldier to scan them both, and then tells them they'll be taken to meet the boss. Back on the other side, Angie is worried about Leo and Chen, but Li Chen reassures her. He says as long as they ran into Lu Yao's men, there shouldn't be a fight. No one would dare break the one rule they all follow. But suddenly, something strange happens to Li Chen. He drops to his knees, his eyes turn blood red, and razor-sharp swords begin sprouting out of his body. Meanwhile, Leo and Chen are still on their way to meet Lu Yao. Chen tells Leo about the red stone he saw with Li Shan. It melted, just like the one the little boy had. He's surprised Leo never told him something that important. Chen goes on, saying nothing happened when he touched the stone, but when Li Shan did, it instantly dissolved. Now the same thing has happened with the boy's stone. Leo starts connecting the dots. Those stones are the key to awakening blood manipulation powers. It explains what happened to Li Chen just now, and what once happened to Leo himself. Chen realizes they need to hurry back to check on Yaya and Angie, but first they need to finish this deal. They finally arrive. Lu Yao appears, and to Leo's shock, Cho Yivian is alive. Leo starts by telling them about Li Chen, how his power awakened, and explains their reason for coming. It's about Yaya's collar and the rules of the game. If her counter doesn't go up, she'll explode. But she can't fight. All they need is a few weapons. Lu Yao bursts out laughing, loud and hysterical. He turns to Cho Yivian and asks for her thoughts. Cold and emotionless, she says they're telling the truth, but hiding something. That's when Leo plays his final card. He says Yaya might be the key to the entire Ori mystery. Lu Yao allows them to see the weapons, but warns Leo they won't come free. Meanwhile, Angie finds Yaya, who's watching Li Chen, now fully transformed, swords still shooting out of him as he stands like a monster. He senses them them instantly and dives at them with insane speed, slicing everything in his path like a blender. The entire structure begins collapsing. Back to Leo. After collecting the weapons, Liu Yao tells him he wants to know the truth about his blood manipulation powers, but Leo admits he knows nothing about where his power comes from. So Liu Yao takes him to the balcony and shows him the same force field Leo saw once before, the Ori barrier. Liu Yao explains that this barrier absorbs anything that touches it. He's trapped inside it, and they're gathering strength to one day break it. Leo offers to cooperate, but when Liu Yao declines, Leo rejects the offer. That rejection, it's taken as a declaration of war. Liu Yao flings Leo straight toward the barrier, but Leo activates his powers mid-air and stops himself just in time. Liu Yao smirks. He's impressed, but says Leo is now an enemy. They clash. Leo and Chen manage to escape when Chen sets off an explosive. Around the same time, Chao finds Leo's radio and hears Angie screaming for help. Leo and Chen flee far enough to breathe. Chen asks what happened with Liu Yao. Leo explains Liu Yao offered him a deal. He said no. But the real problem isn't Liu Yao, it's Cho Evian. She's a blood manipulator too, and a mind reader. Having Yaya near her is incredibly dangerous. Leo also reveals something else. Cho Evian hates him deeply, and that hatred is personal. Their mission now is to rescue Angie and Yaya from the out-of-control Li Chen. While running, Leo remembers what Liu Yao said about wanting to kill Tingo. There's clearly some huge secret between them. Meanwhile, the investigator goes outside for some air. Suddenly, a trailer falls on a fellow officer's car, crushing it completely. Gunfire erupts. The detective realizes he was the target all along. He narrowly escapes, but gets shot in the side. One of the attackers is wearing the PST insignia. Back to Li Chen. He's holding Yaya close, trying to keep her hidden from the rampaging Li Shan. But it doesn't work. Li Shan is already above them. He drops down to kill, but is distracted by other nearby monsters. He slices through them without mercy. Liu Yao, now preparing for war, orders his men to get everything ready. He tells Cho Evian he's excited to see what Leo's next move will be, especially if he tries to trap a monster. Li Shan finishes off the monsters and turns to strike Angie and Yaya. He's about to bring his blade down when Leo arrives just in time and smashes him straight into a wall. Chen explains to Angie that Li Shan's powers have awakened, but there's a catch. They send him into a violent frenzy at first. Li Shan recovers and summons more blades. He activates his powers again and nearly slices through Leo. Leo yells for the others to run to their agreed meeting point. He has a plan, and it's risky. Yaya has to kill a monster herself. Leo runs like hell. He doesn't have time to fight Li Shan. He has to reach Yaya. But Li Shan is in full pursuit. Leo reaches a familiar location where a dangerous monster had once attacked Liu Yao's soldiers. He lures the creature into a trap and pulls it inside, locking it in. He apologizes to the monster, telling it this is the only way, and promises to come back for it. Angie demands that Chen tell her the full plan, so he does. They once found a monster that suddenly stopped attacking, as if something held it back. That same monster is now trapped in that room. It can't leave the building. The plan? Get Yaya to kill it, with explosives. But in a sudden twist, we find out that Li Chen is still alive, and way stronger than anyone expected. He's holding the monster back, swords shooting out of every inch of his body as he stabs the beast over and over again. But in the darkness, something strange starts to awaken. Leo realizes that if the monster escapes or dies, his whole plan will fall apart. So he leaps into the chaos and disappears into the fight. All we see is a trail of blood, but we don't know whose. Then Yaya starts screaming, wildly, like she's sensing something terrifying. Chen figures it out. She can feel the monsters. He has no choice but to grab her and run straight toward the battle. The fight between Leo, Li Chen, and the monster reaches its peak. Leo realizes something terrifying. Li Chen's body has become hard like steel. Worse yet, the monster grabs Li Chen with its tongue, but Li Chen fights back, unleashing a whirlwind of blades. Leo uses part of the monster as a shield and manages to slip past Li Chen's attacks, landing a brutal knee strike. The monster retreats back into the building in fear, but Li Chen just gets angrier, using his long swords to pin Leo down. Angie sees everything and can't take it anymore. She has to help Leo, no matter what. She calls out to distract Li Chen, and it works. But Li Chen charges straight at her like a bullet, ready to kill. Chen jumps in at the last second, taking the hit for her. Li Chen tries to finish them off with another blade, but Leo steps in and saves them again, buying them time to run. Angie insists they can't just leave Leo behind. He'll die. Chen slaps her, trying to snap her out of it. He tells her that helping Leo now would only get him killed faster. But Angie snaps. She screams that they've all been alone their whole lives, always letting others make decisions for them. Not this time. This time, she chooses. Back in the fight, Li Chen pulls out hidden blades from under his arms, spinning them like saws as he chases Leo down. That's when Leo spots Angie holding a grenade. He tells her to throw it to the left in exactly 5 seconds. Leo dives. Angie throws. But Li Chen reacts on instinct. He smacks the grenade back at Leo. Angie screams. Her eyes glow. The blue aura returns, mysterious, divine, and the grenade bounces off midair, exploding right in Li Chen's face. He collapses. Leo, unconscious, falls beside him. Angie rushes over, shaken and overwhelmed. Li Chen gets up as if nothing happened, but Leo wakes up too and reassures her he'll be okay. She didn't kill Li Chen. She saved both of them. Leo now sets his final plan into motion to save Yaya. He tells Chen to rescue him if things go wrong. He makes Angie promise to detonate the explosives at exactly 12 o'clock, no matter what. Elsewhere, Lu Yao's soldiers are slaughtering monsters. Chao notices something strange. His radio is picking up a huge spike. Something big is about to happen. Angie and Chen wait nervously. Angie suddenly realizes she can move a small stone just by willing it, like she did with the grenade. She's become a blood manipulator too. Leo enters the fortified building and finds a dead man, no collar. There's a journal detailing a horrifying plan to lure more victims into Ori. Among the man's things, Leo finds his mother's locket. Inside her picture. Using his implant, Leo hacks the system. He now knows the password to Ori. He pulls up files, photos of children, including Angie. The truth hits like a thunderbolt. Ori was created by PST. His father, his mother, they were all part of it. Suddenly, the massive monster attacks. The ground crumbles beneath Leo. Angie charges in to save him, unleashing her new shadow powers. She forces the monster to release Leo. Chen's worried. Lu Yao's men are closing in, and Chao is with them. Leo and Angie prepare the bomb. She uses her shadows to tie the monster down. Chao sees her powers and finally understands the horrible truth. It was Angie. It was her shadow that killed everyone in the bank. He had been right all along. He raises his weapon ready to end her, but suddenly the Ori barriers twist open, revealing portals, and out of them pours an endless army of monsters. Chaos. Chao and Angie run, forced to leave Leo behind. One of the beasts almost devours him, but Li Chen, now conscious again, saves Leo at the last second, sacrificing his arm to do it. Angie rescues both Leo and Chen. Lu Yao finally arrives with his army and stops Li Chen from falling into another frenzy. He's furious that Leo survived. He wanted to play with him, but now he's done. He moves to kill the weakened Li Chen, but Angie steps in, her shadow power fully unleashed. At that moment, the giant dragon descends from the sky. Lu Yao breaks free from Angie's grip, but the dragon's debris crushes him. From the rubble, the glowing blue figure returns. Leo wakes up and sees it clearly for the first time. It's his mother. And that's where our story ends.